So this has to do with the identity of those referred to, the American youth, not with the laws themselves. So one rule of law online for us, one for the others. This is an especially salient issue as the internet diffuses into new contexts of labor and exploitation in the global south. We must ask whose free labor needs to be exploited and is being protected. This presentation will explore some of these paradoxes of uncivil behavior in digital media, such as griefing, which is kind of what gold farming is, irritating other players, and sexual behavior in social network sites. In short, the immigrant crossing sign, "No one is illegal," right, which is the title of Mike Davis's book, can be viewed productively as a lens through which to envision our internet, where, according to Lessig and other scholars, everybody is illegal, though nobody is, and only some of us are punished. This is far from, of course, everybody's illegal, but nobody's illegal. This is far from true, just as it is not true on the border. Some borders are more dangerous than others. The application of various forms of racial coercion, gold farmer account banning and harassment, the hate towards Tila Tequila as a slut, even though her immensely popular and innovative MySpace profile was instrumental to mainstreaming social networking in 2004, she claims, and I haven't been able to find really fabulous evidence for this, that she was the first person to find the loophole in MySpace that made it possible to play media on it, right? There was unlike Facebook, it was a technology that let you run scripts in it, specifically music players, and she was among the first to put music on MySpace. And this was also what let people pimp out their pages and made them look the way they do. And people now view MySpace as a cyber ghetto, right? There's been good research about all the white flight from MySpace, partly because it looks, as some people say, the internet threw up on itself. But what it really looks like is graffiti, right? It looks like the urban environment. It looks like tagging. And people don't like that because they feel like it's ghetto. But what they really mean is it is people of color, oftentimes. There have been a lot of interviews by Dana Boyd that bear this out. People don't want to be there because they say it's ugly. But they really mean, they say, I'm not racist or anything, but it's too ghetto for me. Okay, so Tila Tequila is that, right? She kind of exemplifies that inappropriate, right, slightly over some kind of a line. As I mentioned before, she had violated the obscenity policies at all the other social networks she'd been at. And mostly what I'm interested in her is that she's a diasporic subject from Singapore who came here and claimed not to know what race she was. She joined a Cholo gang. She lived in Austin, or not Austin, but a suburb of Houston for a while. Partly why she's hated is that she sells her body and her mind in virtual worlds. She replies to people, right? She does affective labor, and she's gotten a huge amount of hate, a lot of it for being too short, apparently, a gremlin, apparently not good looking enough, but mostly for being a slut. So here's a page from her autobiography where she describes her internet adventure. And she talks about being the first person to have really leveraged social networks to get famous in old media, right? Because her show, Hooking Up, was it called? A Shot at Love, right? Was really the first show started by somebody who was only famous on the internet. Right, so she was the born digital star who crossed over. Lots of people have crossed the other way, like Ashton Kutcher and Twitter. But she was the first person to really break through using just the social network. And she writes about how she did it technologically. Right, she found this loophole. She hand-coded all her early websites using HTML, back when that was the only way to do it. And she tries to stress that it's work. Right, she's working all the time. So rather than seeing her as a mogul, as she says people ought to see her, instead, this is how she is persistently viewed, as a slut. Somebody who has too many friends, right? She has millions of friends. She's promiscuous. So what's a virtue in Web 2.0 when some people do it, having millions of followers, is absolutely a sign of her promiscuity and inappropriateness when she does it. So I'm going to play myself off with a short television commercial from WorldCom, and I think it's a great time to see it now, because it came out in 2001. I wrote about it in Cybertypes a long time ago. And it came out right after the crash, right in that moment between Web 1 and Web 2. So it's interesting for that reason. And I want to show it to kind of bring some attention to bear on the new digital nativism and how appeals from the past about the internet are not about youth, but are instead about something else. So.
Generation opportunity isn't about the country.
It isn't about culture. It's about attitude.
Ich komme aus Deutschland, from Germany.
Je vis en France.
I come from Indonesia. Saya datang dari Indonesia. I'm from Oklahoma. But we speak the same language.
Digital.
And we make it easy to understand.
Want to know about web hosting?
Web hosting,
Web centers.
Global IP VPNs? You've come to the right generation.
Generation D.
World Cup.
Generation Digital. You've come to the right generation.
Generation D.
Okay, so in the digital futures of the past, digital natives are all well-paid adults, not whiz-kid children, and no one is illegal. A great leader of illegal workers, Cesar Chavez, coined the phrase, "Si se puede," yes we can, to inspire both solidarity and hope among Latino illegals and empathy for these illegals among non-illegals, white Americans. I'm hopeful that this struggle can be mobilized at the present time because, as is the case with online sex workers like Tila Tequila doing affective labor for lonely men, or gold farmers earning the gold that makes our play more enjoyable and more effective, much of this work is invisible, hidden in the series of tubes that is the internet. Thank you.